What's up, guys? We are back with another Marvel Legends review, taking a look at a slightly early figure today, and one that was definitely at the top of my list for this particular wave. We have got the Age of Apocalypse wave Morph figure up today. So Morph is one of my favorite X-Men. He is my favorite when it comes to the Exiles as well, and I really loved that comic book. It was one of my favorites at the time, so this guy is kind of special to me, so I really wanted to get a hold of him. We've got him here in the standard Marvel Legends packaging. Of course, figure in the window, you've got Apocalypse's head in the backer card of this package, X-Men logo down there on the bottom, and then you've got Apocalypse and a very cartoony shot of Morph on the side with a shot of the figure and a bio with our lineup on the back. So let's do it. Let's pull him out and take a look. And here he is out of the package, our Morph figure. So maybe not the most long-awaited figure for some, but this is one that I really have been looking forward to. A Morph in this particular version, and then of course a Morph from the cartoon, which, I don't know, I could feel like a cartoon line is possibly coming down the road. It just sort of seems like we might be building towards that. And Morph is a character that I've really loved since the cartoon, and especially in the Exiles comic book. He's got, you know, a weird history because he's sort of based on the Changeling character, and then it sort of rolled into Morph, and then he sort of, it's a weird thing. So yeah, we've got a really interesting figure here. He's got a lot to like, and then like the one thing that I really don't like when it comes to just about any Marvel Legends figure that has a cape, because they always seem to just never work correctly. So let's see how this guy can move. He is on like the Sunfire body, which I was kind of surprised about. So I'm gonna take this cape off, just get it out of the way for the time being. So you've got a head that can look really far up, which is good because he can fly. So you've got a really good flight pose head there. He can look down really far, and then you've got full rotation. The arms go out at the shoulders. They rotate, of course. You've got your, well, they go all the way around. There we go. Butterfly joint. So really good movement there. You've got your bicep swivel, double jointed elbows, and then you've got hinges and rotation at the wrist. You've got your ab crunch. He goes forward pretty far, and then he also goes backwards a good bit. You've got your waist twist, and then you've got legs that go out about yay far. They kick forward. They kick backwards a little bit. You do have your thigh cut, double jointed knees. You've got a boot cut. You've got rocker, and then of course you've got your hinges down there. So he is pretty par for the course when it comes to Legends, but he does of course use a body that I'm a little bit more happy with. I thought he was just a full like Bucky cap style body without realizing that he had the butterfly joints until I got him in hand. Of course, this big thing does kind of get in the way though, so it pegs into his back. And as usual, I'm not a big fan of that to begin with because they never really want to stay in place all the time. So it does just get in the way of his articulation because it's going to stop him from doing any poses where he really gets crouched down, because this thing is actually just as tall as the figure, really. So you do have to take that into consideration, but the base body on its own moves really well. Now when it comes to the aesthetics, of course, this being the Exiles version, he has a really unique look in the general sense, because he's got this very dark blue with black accent suit, and it works really well on this body, and it is painted really nicely as well. The body is blue, and then you've got these black accents that run from the pecs, the abs, down the legs, and then down the arms, which all terminate, of course, in the really bright and very clashing yellow gloves and gauntlets with the monstrously large cuffed boots that are also in that bright yellow. And it looks really good. It's striking. It's a very distinct color from the rest of the body. And then, of course, you've got his very purple cape, which does look good. Like, I will say that in a general sense, I'm never really upset with how the plastic capes look. They generally hang pretty well, and this one works nicely because it really sits like the cape did in the comic books. It's got the silver rivets that run around it, and it sort of kind of frills up around him, not like Nighthawk's does, that crazy monstrous thing. But this one's a little bit more subdued, but it still has some play about it. It does have a nice hang to it. What's the most striking aspect for this figure, though, without a doubt, is the head sculpt. But then next to that would be the cape for me. The only real hindrance there is, again, like I said, is the cape always gets in the way when it comes to these figures. At least in my experience, they never seem to be just right. I kind of wish that they were a little bit shorter because these always hit the ground. They always hit the floor. And I wish they just sort of hung a little bit higher instead of allowing the figure to balance on the cape, that it would help to allow the figure to crouch down a little bit more. So they do look pretty good. You know, the hang on it is nice. The kind of frills in it is nice, and then just the overall curvature looks good, but it does still get in the way. Now, all that said and done, a cape that I don't necessarily like all that much is not going to hinder my enjoyment of this figure, especially when he's topped off by a damn near perfect head sculpt. This one honestly would have been a really weird one for them to have messed up because it's not nearly as detailed as most head sculpts. It's just a white void with a very matte finish and some distinctly comic book style line art accents. So you've got those really dark circles around the eyes, and the eyes are kind of pearly too. They're not as white as the head. They do have a little pearlescent shine to them, with a little smirk with some lines for the mouth, and then one raised comic book style line art almost eyebrow. It just looks great. It looks like he jumped right out of a page of the Exiles comic book, and it's exactly how I remember him. So I think they did a phenomenal job topping this figure off. It almost makes up for the fact that he doesn't come with any accessories. So yeah, this guy met my expectations, really. I'm a big fan of the character, as I've said a few times. I really dig the source material. I just like Morph, and I love this version of Morph in particular, and I think they did him justice. The only real negative for this figure, and it's something that I find to be a negative across a lot of Marvel Legends, is the cape situation. I just don't think it's ideal. The peg in the back, and then the overall size of them just kind of gets in the way. Otherwise, though, he looks fantastic. The body is fantastic for this figure because, well, I didn't think he was on this body at first, so it's nice to see some extra added butterfly joints there, and the paint job is nice, and the head sculpt on this figure is superb. He's going to look really good next to Blink, and I'm really hoping that we're going to get some more Exiles down the road because this guy deserves to be next to his at least mostly full team. I would love to have a few more to round him out, and I'm really glad they gave us this figure. So that's going to do it for this look at the Marvel Legends Morph figure. Let me know what you guys think. Feel free to like, comment, subscribe, and share, and until next time.